Welcome to TV Africa News. Thank you so much for joining us and being part of us. This is Africa Today. My name is Nahawa Kajura, but first are the headlines. President Yoweri Museveni to meet NRM Parliamentary Caucus over anti-homosexuality bill. Egypt President to help mediate on crisis in neighboring Sudan. Opponents from coalition in Senegal against Macky Sall's of third term. And as sports news today, Philip Pokorach out as Uganda squad is named. Once again, thank you so much for joining us and being part of us. We start with one of our top stories. Now, the President of Uganda, His Excellency Yoweri Museveni, will on Thursday meet National Resistance Movement Parliamentary Caucus to discuss the recently passed Anti-Homosexuality Bill 2023 and other issues. Now, according to the statement by the chairman of the caucus, Dennis Obowa, the meeting will be held at State House in Tebe at 2 p.m. We have more on this report. Last month, the Parliament passed the Anti-Homosexuality Bill, which, if assented to by the President, would criminalize homosexual activities. However, there have been calls, especially from the international community, for Museveni not to sign the bill into law. Recently, the US government warned that Uganda risked economic sanctions if the bill gets signed into law and urged Museveni not to assent to it. In a similar way, the European Union also said they were opposed to the bill in all circumstances, saying criminalization of homosexuality is contrary to international human rights law. However, Museveni has on several occasions disagreed with the Western community on their stance on homosexuality. Recently, Museveni said it was wrong for Western countries to impose homosexuality on Africans and accused them of double standards in matters related to cultural values. The president, however, said government would hold more discussions on the matter that has been headlining news in the past weeks. Among other provisions in the past bill is death penalty for persons involved in aggravated homosexuality. The bill also criminalizes promotion of homosexuality with a prison sentence of up to 20 years of anyone that advocates for LGBTQ rights or sponsors organizations that spread homosexuality. Moving on, the Egyptian President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi has said that his administration was communicating with the warring sides in Sudan in an effort to stop the fighting and start negotiations aimed at restoring stability in the neighboring country. We have more.
Speaking at a meeting with Egypt's Supreme Council of the Armed Forces, the president said that he and his counterpart from South Sudan were both ready to play a mediation role. President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi said that together with the President Salva Kiir of South Sudan have made endless calls between the Sudanese armed forces and rapid support forces and are in constant contact with them to encourage them to cease fire and end the bloodshed of the Sudanese and reach negotiations that will lead to restoring stability once again. The power struggle in Sudan pits General Abdel Fattah al-Burhan, the commander of the armed forces, against his former ally General Muhammad Hamdan Dagalo, who heads the Rapid Support Forces, a paramilitary group. El-Sisi also said that Egypt was in contact with the RSF in order to secure the release of a number of Egyptian troops who were captured in Sudan. The president insisted that the soldiers had been taking part in joint exercises and were not deployed to Sudan to side with anyone or to support a side against another.
We take a quick break. We shall come back with the international news. Welcome back from the break. You're still watching TV Africa, the Brightener. Moving on, in international news, Italian charity emergency vessel Life Support rescued migrants from Cote d'Ivoire, Egypt, Eritrea, Nigeria, Palestine, Sudan, and Somalia on Saturday afternoon. Now, among the rescued were women, 3 children, and 3 unaccompanied minors. We have more.
The charity expected 3 days of sailing to reach their assigned location of disembarkation, Marina di Carrara, located in northern Italy. Emanuele Nannini, the head of mission of emergency life support, detailed the operation that life support emergency search and rescue vessel just accomplished the rescue of 55 people from a rubber boat which was drifting away from the Libyan coasts. According to the UN Migration Agency, the first 3 months of 2023 were the deadliest first quarter in 6 years for migrants crossing the central Mediterranean Sea in smugglers' boats, citing nations' delays in initiating rescues as a contributing factor. The international government of the migration documented 441 migrants' deaths along the dangerous sea route between northern Africa and Europe's southern shores during January, February, and March. In 2017, 742 known deaths were documented in the same period, while 446 were recorded in the first 3 months of 2015.
Away from that, more than 100 political and civil society groups in Senegal on Sunday formed a coalition to oppose a third term for President Macky Sall. We have more.
10 months ahead of presidential elections, the coalition in declaration called on Sall to respect the constitution and refrain from running for an illegal and illegitimate third term. The president in power since 2012 has not classified his intentions but rejects claims it would be unconstitutional for him to run again. Macky Sall's main political opponent, Ousmane Sonko, was among several opposition leaders to attend the launch of the coalition. More than 120 parties on Sunday signed the charter of the F-24 movement of vital forces, according to its instigators. It also calls for the release of political detainees arrested during demonstrations of a defamation case against Sonko brought by Tourism Minister Mani Mbaye Niang, a member of Sall's party. Tensions have been running high through the country for weeks, with protests bringing the capital Dakar to a virtual standstill.
Away from that, Senegalese singer-songwriter Baal Mal was named a United Nations Convention to Combat Desertification Goodwill Ambassador on Monday, 17th April 2023. Now, he previously served as our UNCCD Land Ambassador alongside fellow musicians Ina Moja and Ricky Cage.
Mill has long been an activist of climate change and refugees. Since 2003, he has been committed to various development challenges in Africa, working with different UN family organizations. His Nanke Trust recently opened a solar power irrigation project in Senegal to fight desertification, which is one of the main drivers of people leaving the country to dangerous migration routes. The project will train people to start similar schemes in their own communities. Mal is a believer in putting power in the hands of young people and women. Mal was brought up in the small town of Poda in North Senegal, which has a fishing community at its heart. Mal was born into a fisherman caste and was expected to follow the career path, but he befriended storyteller and musician Mansour Seck and has spent his life performing, traveling and raising awareness about the issues his homeland faces. The veteran musician released his first album in 7 years, being on March 31st, and will headline the Barbican in London for the first time in 20 years on 30th May.
Africa Today takes a quick break. She'll come back with business, health, and sports. Welcome back to the break. You're still watching TV Africa, the right now talking matters business. The IMF, April 13th, 2023, in a press briefing announced that growth in sub-Saharan Africa is expected to slow to 3.6% in 2023 as a big funding squeeze tied to the dying up of aid and access to private finance hit the region.
According to Abebe Amuro Selassie, director of the IMF's African Department, if no measures are taken, the shortage of funding may force countries to reduce fiscal resources for critical development like health, education and infrastructure, holding the region back from developing its true potential. Sub-Saharan African countries lag significantly in revenue collections, with a median tax ratio of only 13% of GDP in 2012, compared with 18% in other emerging economies and developing countries and 27% in advanced economies. The IMF has provided the region with around $50 billion in financing since the start of the pandemic and will continue to work with the region to put in place the right type of policies that are tailor-made to each country's needs.
In our health news today, parents in Kenya, Western City in Kisumu have started lining up to have their children jabbed with malaria vaccine. They will receive the RTS-ACE vaccine, which acts against Plasmodium falciparum, the deadliest malaria parasite globally and the most prevalent in Africa.
The vaccine, sold by GlaxoSmithKline Mosquirix, is about 30% effective. Despite medical trials for other parasitic and mosquito-borne diseases, progress is painstaking, but home is on the horizon. R21 vaccine, whose preliminary results from early testing have suggested that it is far more effective than the RTS-ACE malaria vaccine, the only one currently authorized for use by the World Health Organization. According to CDC estimates, more than 3.5 million people in Kenya get malaria every year, with over 10,000 dying from it. Last month, Kenya said it will expand the use of RTS-ACE, a full-dose malaria vaccine, in an additional 25 sub-counties, with the 8 like endemic countries. The vast majority of malaria cases are in Africa. 96% of all deaths in this region are among children under the age of 5. Preliminary results from early testing have suggested that the R21 vaccine developed by the Jenner Institute at the University of Oxford is far more effective than RTS-ACE malaria vaccine. Late-stage testing of R21 vaccine is still underway in Burkina Faso, Kenya, Mali and Tanzania, with results expected later this year. Results from an early trial released last year showed that in children vaccinated in Burkina Faso, the R21 vaccine was up to 80% effective, depending on how much of an immune-boosting ingredient was included in the shots. Ghana became the first country to approve its rollout on 13th April.
In sports news today, Uganda men's sevens will play the first round of the World Rugby Sevens Challenger Series 2023 without Philippe Wokorach due to his club obligations in France.
Wokorach's club, ASBC, Vaucluse in the second division of French rugby, have a crucial promotional playoff in the qualification round against La Menezan on Sunday afternoon. Thus, the Sports Journalist's Rugby Player of the Year 2012 did not make the trip to Stellenbosch, South Africa to join the squad. However, the squad, who have been in residential camp in Stellenbosch since March 31st, were given a timely boost when they were joined by Captain Michael Wukraj and Desire Yera earlier this week. The squad is largely unchanged from the last tournament in Dubai and Cape Town last year. Rhinos captain Alan Olango and National Sevens Series 2012 MVP Aaron Tukey are the new entrants and to Tolbert Onyango's squad.
Thank you so much, our reporter. It is at this particular time that I thank you for being with us and always joining us. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. We should keep updating you. It is TV Africa, the right to know.